Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to Game 2 of Day 2 of Dignitas Week. And for those of you who are a bit confused of what's going on, this week, every single day, I am following one of Team Dignitas' players and really just casting 3-4 of their games to show you how great they are, how fantastic they are as players, and also how awesome Team Dignitas are as a whole. Now, basically today I am following JonnyREcco, the newest, well, he was the newest member of Dignitas until this week, and basically he is the 17-year-old Zerg player. He is from the UK and he is mighty good at this game. To give you some idea of things he's done, obviously if you watch game 1 of day 2 you'll know that he is absolutely astounding. That game against Thorzane was incredible. But today, well this game rather, he is up against QXC, the purple Terran player in the top right. Now obviously for those of you who want to know a bit about Rico, what does he do? Well, he finished school obviously about 7 months ago now. In July 2012 he joined Dignitas, the UK's biggest gaming team and one of the biggest gaming teams there is, and he in that time has obviously gone 1-2 against a Muslim, probably ranked the best player in the UK in the WCS UK qualifiers. He also went 4-1 winning against Dignitas Bling, his teammate at I-46. Of course I was casting that, and he is generally an absolutely awesome player. He's also qualified for IPL Pro League, etc, etc. He is just super good at this game. QXC of course is a very well known player, very good, been around for quite a while, plays for Complexity, and well, he is famous for one, he set off obviously the Hellion expand play against Zerg. He's also very good at mech against Zerg, so I reckon we'll be seeing some mech. For the moment though, this one SCV trying to deny the hatchery going down, but there we go. It does go down, but that is out of position. If I'm not, have I gone crazy? No, that is that one block out of place? I'm not quite sure. I may be wrong, but I'm not sure. No, Rico wouldn't have done that. This is just a different version of the map. No, it's fine. Everything is okay. There's more of a gap there. I was suddenly like, hang on, that's a block out of position. No, it is a block out of position. Rico has built this wrong. He's one block too far away. Rico. Oh, he didn't notice either. So perhaps I'm going crazy, I don't really know. But the point is, that's irrelevant. The spawning pool coming down is hatch first into spawning pool. Meanwhile, a 1 racks command center opening that should get followed up by 2 gas. Only 1 at the moment, that's quite interesting. Usually the normal follow-up from this for Terran is you go 1 rack CC, 2 gas. Now, obviously let's talk a little bit about Dignitas. For those of you who don't know, obviously Dignitas started in 2003. That's their cool little logo down there on my overlay. And, well, they started from 2 Battlefield teams merging. They are now an absolutely powerhouse of esports, ranging in games from obviously StarCraft, Dota, League of Legends, FPS games, everything. They are awesome, and obviously anyone who's been to iSeries will have met them. They go all over the world. They've got DreamHack with their various teams, etc. And I'm working with them this week, as I said, to produce a player a day. If you haven't watched Day 1, which of course was Dream, check it out. It'll be on my channel, and it is most definitely worth the watch. Now, this bunker is in such a defensive position here. Zerglings will have a tough time doing anything there, but of course that does give up a lot of space around the front, so we'll be interested to see how that works. Meanwhile, the factory coming down, I'm really surprised there's only 1 gas here. I would have put money on there being a double gas after this, so really interested to see how that goes. But we do have the 2 orbital commands morphing in now. Obviously, we've got the reactor coming down in the barracks ready for the factory. Meanwhile, Rico, what's he doing? Well, he's got to think about taking his 3rd base sometime soon, because let's face it, he's on equal bases with a Terran, which is never fun. Cloud Kingdom, though, does have some big openings, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes down, how it's used, and whether those Hellions are able to get in. There's also the opportunity, following on from this, from Banshee, but of course, with only the 1 gas, it definitely won't have Cloak. The Banshee will be delayed as well, so I'll be interested to see if that's the sort of build the QXC is going to go for, or whether Rico is going to be okay getting up his 4, well, first 2 gas rather, just at the natural, so of course that means that any scouting coming in might think it's 4, which is always a good move to go. Here comes the starport. We've got the barracks floating over, so we are going to have the Banshee coming on. The 2nd gas coming in now, but this will be a Banshee with no cloak, guaranteed. So that should mean, in terms of the worker count, the Terran player doing relatively well, getting 2 workers at a time. We've got here Rico getting to take his 3rd base. Good timing with 3rd base, about 6 minutes. In this matchup, that is absolutely fine. Got 4 queens out. I love that. Like, absolutely brilliant. It just means that you get such good creep spread, and especially on a map like Cloud Kingdom, It is just so wide, you need lots of different creep tumor paths just to make sure you're covering all angles. The first two Hellions on their way over, but of course they will get spotted by the Zergling at the watchtower. They go underneath the Flying Shark, which that's never made any sense to me, the Flying Shark. None at all. But anyway, we've got these Hellions coming down. They're going to come and scout out the third base, which is of course all fine. We've got the Banshee on its way out. We've got not much following this up though. We've got, for the moment, just lots and lots of SCVs and lots of mules. More Hellions coming out. The grand total of Hellions is now up to a, well, 4. We've got the double evolution chamber. The Rotoron coming down as well. 2 queens sitting there would completely block it off. Meanwhile, we've got this third base taking a couple of hits from the Hellions, but of course that's not going to go down anytime soon to Hellion and Fire because they just do so little damage against buildings. Meanwhile, the first Banshee should be joining in fairly soon. It's nearly complete. Cloak is actually on the way now, so that is a really, really delayed Cloak. So this is an interesting build from QXE. He put off getting that second gas for quite a long time. The Queen's pushing forward, the creep spread going really, really nicely. Of course, with the double queen as well, you can get away with the creep spread. Up to 6 Hellions now, though. They are getting pretty scary. The Zerglings are on their way over. The third base is up. Of course, every hit you get is good. We've got more Zerglings on their way. The +1 Carapace coming out. Zergling speed, 3/4 done, +1 melee attack on its way as well now. We do have the Banshee coming. Of course, is the Banshee going to go straight for the main? REcco at the moment does have the evolution chambers down, so he can start Spore Crawlers if he spots it, and that will obviously help him against the Cloak. There we go, the Spawn Crawlers starting as soon as he sees one of the third base. Only the one of the third base, yes, none of the natural or main, but of course if that finishes up he should be relatively good to deal with that Banshee. But of course this third base taking an awful lot of fire. More roaches on their way through. Of course these roaches will force back the Hellions for the time being. The Queen's there as well, enough for a transfuse, and there it goes down, and obviously REcco doing this very, very nicely. The third command center on its way down here from QXE, using the fact that he's got good map dominance to his advantage. But Cloak nearly finished up. He isn't really getting much else. I mean, in terms of actual production structures, he's just gone 1 Rax, 1 factory, 1 starport, and is now just getting up the double evolution engineering bay rather. Meanwhile, if we look down here, we've got great creep spread. It's forcing back these units quite a long way because of course speedlings on the creep are going to be very tough to deal with. Trying to really need to keep an eye on what that's going to do. The creep spread down towards the third, nice as well. We've got more Hellions poking and prodding, but the important thing is no workers have been killed yet. And in terms of the loss tab, only 400 resources lost by JonnyREcco here. Now those creep tumors are going to get picked off most likely, but one actually looks like he may get allowed to finish, but no. Glad that didn't. The Banshee is still being a complete pain. One of the queens getting very low, gets taken out. That's a good little win for QXE there. REcco's still, though, at 4 queens, so that's okay. Needs to keep 2 at the third. In terms of Spore Crawlers, he's got 1 at each mineral line. Now that is good. Scan going down, just stopping the creep spread here, because of course Terran players really do not like creep spread at any stage. Looking up at the production tab, the 1/1 infantry upgrades coming down for QXE. Stim halfway done. The 1 Carapace and +1 melee attack about to finish up for the Zerg player, and well, Lair is nearly finished as well. We've got the second Spore Crawler there. The creep spread still trying to go forward. The third base taken for QXE. That is very, very important indeed. Meanwhile, just a lot more barracks being added on, so this is really just a very standard, typical mass marine tank play coming out here. We've got the first tank in production. We've got siege mode. Infestation pit coming down from JonnyREcco. Very, very early infestation pit actually. Usually you don't see that till slightly later, usually about 12 minutes, but obviously, he is just happy to tech up it. It's going to help him shut down these Hellions as well, but of course 1 funk growth means the Zerglings are able to surround it incredibly easily, but the Roach is already out there, doing some good damage. The Queen's pushing forward, and I really, really like REcco's use of Queens. He's got 6 out already, and of course, that is just pretty brilliant, and it's showing how effective it can be getting a lot of queens against Terran, which of course was first really made famous by Spanishiwa with the Ice Fisher build when he got a whole load of queens and pretty much nothing else, and just spine crawlers really, and was just like, herped up, I'm gonna make loads of drones, spine crawlers and queens, and see how you like that. Anyway, we've got these Banshees. They're still picking and poking. They haven't got many kills though. They haven't done any drone damage either. Yeah, 1 queen getting caught out there. No drone kills at all for the time being, but QXE has been cost effective, doing roughly 5 times more damage than he's taking in terms of resources. In terms of the work count though, REcco up to 70, the QXE only just behind with that third base already up. The 4th base with JonnyREcco may be forced to cancel if it isn't careful, because those Banshees are just going for it, and the cancel is forced. That is a big win for the Terran player right now. Looking up here, just way more barracks being added on. This is so infantry heavy. An additional factory just starting now. The +1 vehicle weapon started. The 2/2 infantry upgrades going. The 2/2 melee Zerg upgrades going. Hive on its way out as well. That's an early Hive timing. Now, judging by the fact that REcco hasn't yet gone for his Spire, which of course takes the same time to build as the Hive, I reckon we may see Ultras first, which is a nice little tech switch, especially when you go for the really... Well, it's not a tech switch, but it's a good tech path, especially when you go for the early Hive, because with the Infestors, you're able to get a good fungal growth down, allowing the Ultralisks to close down the difference in distance, and obviously with the upgrades, they are very, very strong against pretty much everything the Terran can throw at them, especially because Marine Tank doesn't have Marauders in it, and unless you see those Ultras, you don't tend to get them. Now, these Hellions are going to get surrounded here. REcco in a great position. He picks off one, the others are very, very low HP. Both of them get picked off very quickly, and we could actually see a nice little counter-attack, but REcco deciding instead, let's pull back, because he's got some Marines coming in towards his third base. Of course, that's a problem. Meanwhile, he's got a second drop to deal with at his natural, but that's getting cleaned up, and that was good use there of the Infestors. And, well, the third base is going to stay up quite comfortably here. Got to be careful, though, that medevac on very, very low HP. The Queen's going to cut it off. Is it going to get picked off? Yes, it is. That's a big win for JonnyREcco right there. But of course, that Banshee still being a pain, trying to pick off some of those Infestors, which do get away safely. The fourth and fifth base are nearly done for REcco. But meanwhile, we do have QXC getting his fourth, but still more production. The Ultralisk Cavern on the way as expected. Adrenal Glands getting researched here. Such a good upgrade. Every single Zerg player should get that when they get Hive, if you're using Zerglings at all in their army. And, well, 3-3 upgrades coming down, more Queens coming down, 2-2 infantry upgrades about to finish up for QXC. But here we go, we've got a good Zerg movement, quite a few roaches in here as well. And the tanks are on siege, they get caught before the siege goes down, but REcco not feeling comfortable taking that. Waits, buys his time, tries to get a better position. I think that is always a good thing to do. If you're not confident with your engagement, not sure you're going to come off well, don't go for it. But as you can see here, QXC, after losing those drops, has actually lost more resources than his opponent. One Marine coming down here. Is it going to spot the fifth base? That's obviously a very vulnerable position because it's a long way away from the fourth and third. Some Banings morphing in. We do have the Ultralisk Cavern now finished. The first Ultra on the way. No Ultra Armor upgrade started yet. We do have the 3-3 upgrades. A quarter done though. Combat Shield is about to finish up as well. That's going to make those Marines a lot more potent. Looking at the moment though, quite a few Zerglings getting spotted here. Is what is going to be the target? Well, it looks like the third base, and this could force a pullback. Those Roaches doing a good job. Fungal growth's going down, but here's all the action, and so many Speedlings streaming into QXC's third base. The Templar is going to take some pretty significant losses here. Of course, those Zerglings able to do good damage. It's a good wall off though, and the reinforcements do come just in time. This tank sieged up in a nice position. How many workers were killed? Only 2, surprisingly. I thought it would have been more than that. And meanwhile, a drop coming down, and this is QXC really pushing JonnyREcco's multitasking to the absolute max. The Terran player is maxed out. He's sieging the fourth base, and this top position, once it's sieged up, can be very, very hard to take back. Of course, this fifth base getting cleaned up for the moment, leaving just a handful of Zerglings there, ready to deal with anything else comes down. We've got tanks and Marauders coming across. Where's the action? Well, the Marines, they're coming down to the third base, and of course the Ultras are there, able to deal with quite a lot of that, but here comes a good siege position. Obviously with the drop as well, that fifth base likely to get taken out, and JonnyREcco, he is in really quite a lot of trouble right now. The Marauders are making short work of those Ultralisks, but as you can see, luckily the Zerglings are able to get us around, and it looks like the fifth base is going to survive. The fourth base has now been taken out. The tanks and Marines are moving around the side, but the creep spread from JonnyREcco really, really nice. And as you can see here, most of QXC's army pulling back, trying to get into a good defense position, but he's got tank lines that are just endlessly long. Look at them, they are just going across the entire map. The fourth base trying to get retaken here by REcco right now, who still hasn't started his Spire, interestingly, so no check switch into Broodlords yet, but he has got these Ultras, and boy has he got a lot of them. 8 on the field already. The Ultralisk armor upgrade coming down, a great pickup from QXC right there, and this is just such a good game to watch. As you can see, that tank is pretty much being ignored, just gets completely surrounded and one-shotted by that Death Ball. And well, the fifth base is up, and that's pretty important. We've got more Zerglings streaming in. Adrenal Glands is done. 3-3 is nearly finished. Obviously the Ultra armor upgrade only, what, 50 seconds away now, that tank getting taken out. But as you can see, these tanks, even though they're spread out and getting taken out relatively easily, they get a couple of hits off, which is of course going to be annoying. The fourth base gets retaken out yet again by QXC, who has got this double drop trying to go in, but one of the drops has already been cleaned up. A fungal growth goes down, and I'm amazed those units aren't getting dropped yet, but he has managed to pick off the fifth base at the top, and the action is just going on absolutely everywhere in this map at the moment. And JonnyREcco is doing such a good job. What are these two players' APM like? 230 and 220 average, so that is pretty damn high. And well, as you can see, we've got these Zerglings trying to surround all these units. No pickup going down at the moment, and the Marauders getting sniped off by the Zerglings, which of course is good. 3-3 Zerglings with Adrenal Glands just do so much damage. This little ball of units looking to be in a bit of trouble here, especially from just such a sizable force. All it needs is one good fungal growth. They are clumping up quite nicely there. So are we going to see it? Are we going to see the fungal? Not yet. There it goes. Perfect. And well, REcco gets the range on those Ultras, allowing them to close up the distance and well, deal good damage. Meanwhile, fifth base being retaken, fourth base being retaken. That's the only real problem REcco's facing at the moment, is of course that he is down on effectively 2 mining bases. His main is mined out, and that means that his opponent is effectively a base up on him. They're about to be 2 bases up with that. Meanwhile, we've got these units coming down, trying to defend the 5th, and the Infestors just happily sitting around the middle. Get a fungal growth. Are they going to chain fungal? All of that, we'll wait and see. Another fungal goes down. That'll be the end of those Marines, and that is just big wing time. But here we go. We've got the 4th base looking like it's going to be under some trouble, but this is a big wall-off area. The tanks are there, but they're not sieged up. That could run into some problems. The greatest spire on the way for JonnyREcco at the moment. That sensor tower coming down. Such an underused building by so many Terran players. It's so useful for defending large areas, such as on Cloud Kingdom. We've got Burrow coming down as well. Burrowed Infestors, of course, absolutely brilliant for harassment potential, but as you can see, this 4th base highly held. This 5th base has been spotted by a Zergling by JonnyREcco, and that one Zergling is doing its utmost to try and kill everything. The 2-2 upgrades are done for the Terran infantry, but plus 3 infantry weapons about to finish up, plus 3 infantry armor only just starting, but it looks like Rico is just going for the complete surround. He gets a couple of units for free, and in terms of being cost effective, well, as you can see, QXC losing an awful lot more, nearly double that of his opponent, and well, double drop coming in here. That is something to always worry about, but the 5th base gets lifted off from QXC rather, so he is going to be absolutely fine. Though this double drop though is going to go straight for the 5th base, and the one thing you've got to compliment this Terran player on is his ability to deny Rico his expansions. The 4th and 5th base are up though. The 5th base trying to get some spine callers down. They're not going to get there in time. Can any of those lovely Zerglings get over in time? Well, we'll wait and see. Obviously, Rico is now going to be fully aware of what's going on. Doesn't get the cancel on 2 of those spine callers, all 3. Of course, he's got so much money in the bank, he doesn't have to worry too much. Rico nearly maxed out. He has got quite a few corruptors down. Needs to start thinking about getting those Broodlords. In the meantime, the 5th base does die. The center ground really held, though, by the Zerg player. This creep spread, absolutely brilliant. The double drop, though, coming into the 4th. And this multi-prong harassment is just so intense out of QXC. The Terran is just keeping the Zerg player spread out all over the map, constantly having to rebuild bases, and it is just really irritating. As you can see, Rico needs to be careful with that infested patrol, doesn't want to lose those. He's got 6 Broodlords morphing in, and of course this is a nice little tech switch, and will really punish the fact that there's only 24 Marines. The starports haven't even started thinking about producing any Vikings yet, and of course all of these Marauders are going to become pretty much useless when the Broodlords start hitting, and especially as the Ultra numbers decrease quite rapidly. So that could be a good little option of attack for Rico, who has taken the supply advantage, but income-wise, he is starting to fall behind just because his bases are mining out, his naturals mined out, and of course QXC is still mining off of 3 bases, transferring those SCVs over to his 5th. That's going to be a good point. Meanwhile, we've got more spine callers coming down, more creep spread, and this creep spread is just amazing. This drop sitting here doing very little at the moment. This is a good area to try and defend everything, though. The Broodlords are sitting there. The scan goes off. Does he see the Broodlords? That's the important thing. No, I don't think he did, but of course, this 5th base yet again getting shut down so hard. The cancel forced by QXC, and Rico, he is just doing such a good job considering how starved he is getting. One with these minerals, another drop sitting down here, so I'm interested to see what that's going to do. This drop play by QXC is absolutely relentless. He's got all of his army moving on here as well. He's going to get a good siege position right now. Of course, the Broodlords are there though, so that's going to force the unsiege, otherwise he'll splash all his own units, and well, QXC is going to have trouble dealing with those Broodlords because, as I said, 28 Marines, a great fungal growth goes down, gets pretty much everything there, another fungal hits. Those Broodlords are able to clean up nearly everything. The siege tanks are going to go down as well. They're just slowly moving forward, and QXC was clearly unprepared for this. 15 Marines on production straight away, the 3 Vikings coming down, but can they get there in time? Can he get the significant number of Vikings he needs? Well, considering that there are 6 Corruptors out on the field as well, he is going to seriously struggle with that. Meanwhile, that drop was cleaned up, the 5th base coming back down yet again for Rico. Obviously, all 5 bases of QXC have been up for quite a while now, but 2 of them are Planetary Fortress, so obviously he is getting not as many mules as he may like. Looking here, we do of course have the Changeling just sitting there for Rico. What else do we have? Well, we've got units moving around here at the moment. We've got both players trying to be passive, and that is my mouse kicking out and going way off screen, but that is fine. We have recovered from that, everyone, and well, here we go. We've got a big movement up from QXC, who is, well, a good 10 supply behind now, and he's really not transitioned into his late game as well as he would have liked. He's about to get up to 6 Vikings, but of course 48 Marines are going to get shut down pretty hard by those Infestors sitting there, and well, how much can get done here? Here goes the Broodlords. They are going to be able to clean that up very nicely as long as the Infestors stay back, which they are for the time being, but this is allowing QXC to move over at the other side of the map, and this is just utilizing the map to his advantage as best he can. It's a wide map, and he is spreading out, and he is attacking from both sides at once. Well, there's a lot of Ultralisks here, but unfortunately no Infestor support, which basically means that they are not going to be able to close off the distance. The Infestors coming in now though, but needs a fungal growth to allow those Ultras to engage effectively. The Roaches are up there behind, but Rico won't mind losing some of those Roaches in order to get out more Broodlords. But most of this 4th getting cleaned up now, and of course in come the Broodlords from behind, and Rico somehow made that work very, very well. Obviously the Roaches are still up though. needs to think about how he can start losing those roaches in a cost-effective manner, because that will free up the supply in the late game that he needs to get more broodlords, more infestors out. The Viking count getting higher, but of course that's what you got to be careful of, is clumping them all up. Otherwise you are suddenly going to end up with a fungal growth on you that is not going to end well. These couple of Marines managed to get away fairly safely. REcco using the map to his advantage as well. And I mean, if we look at the vision of these two players, so much more vision for REcco of everything that's happening on this map compared to that of his opponent. And well, if we take a look here, we've got this 5th base looking like it wants to get taken down yet again. A couple of Zerglings staying there. That Infestor manages to sneak out. Meanwhile, we've got the Roaches trying to pick off a Planetary Fortress that is getting chain repaired, which is from the 5th base. Does fall for REcco yet again. That base is cursed for him. But as you can see, REcco's just Broodlord army is starting to look a little bit vulnerable. He's getting out 11 more Corruptors. He's lost quite a few. He's pretty much got rid of all of his Roaches bar 3. So that means he's just freed up more supply to get out more Broodlords. But the problem is the Viking count is ever increasing, up to 18 Vikings already. The problem is REcco is struggling on his mineral income now. He is just down to this 4th base. He is down to 55 workers. He needs to start building some more drones, which he is doing like an absolute baller. And well, these Zerglings, they're coming up from behind, a couple of Roaches there as well. They're able to clean up these Marines fairly easy and clean up all of the distance. This allows REcco to attack on the other side as well. And this is a very, very scary force. There's a lot of Corruptors in there, actually. 18 Corruptors against 22 Vikings. With a fungal growth, that will be fine. As long as it all clumps up like that, one fungal growth will be absolutely devastating. Where are the Vikings going to attack from? I'd attack from this angle with the Vikings. Try and get a side on. Try and split them up as much as you can to avoid the big fungals. But in come the Infestors. A fungal growth only gets a couple of Vikings there. Could be a bit better. Quite a few Marines get picked off, though. The Corruptors need to get in there as well. Need to try and take some of the fire. And this is it. This is going to be the big fight. This could decide the game at the moment. And well, the fungal growth's going down everywhere. Getting so many units there. The Broodlords getting micro back as best they can. Trying to get them out of range of those Vikings. And of course, those Infestors chucking down some more infested towns as we speak. But the Vikings have just such a good arc. Shooting at so many of the Corruptors, though. The Broodlords trying to pull back, trying to get to safety, but they are going to have some big problems. But the Infested Terrans managing to dish out just enough DPS. In terms of the loss tab, this is pretty equal. 5,000 resources difference between them. One losing nearly 30, well, REcco managing to go 30,000 resources worth of units this match so far. And the Broodlords, a lot of them did survive, still 6 up on the field, 6 more Corruptors coming down. So little Zergling run by does get pushed back for the time being. Obviously, this 5th base needs to go down if REcco really wants to deal with this, because he needs to start harming his opponent's money. But at the moment, QXC, he's keeping his minerals low, but his gas is getting pretty damn high. The Vikings moving forward, going to try and get some kills. They do manage to snipe off the Corruptors. Now those Broodlords are fair game. They are getting one-shotted pretty much by those volleys. And REcco GG's out in what was an absolutely amazing game. That could have gone either way in the middle. That final fight, I think REcco just left it a bit too long to engage with those Broodlords and allowed the Viking count to get a bit too high. But seriously, guys, that was amazing. I've got some more games from REcco, so flick over to my channel and give them a watch. And, of course, follow him on Twitter. It's at JonnyREcco. Follow me on Twitter, at MadalsSC2. Follow Dignitas, at Team Dignitas. And, yeah, I will catch you at the next game. Bye for now, guys.